Hey peeps, Justin here. Welcome you to otakusandgeeks.com reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing Godzilla, King of the Monsters. As always, you guys, I give you a brief synopsis of the film before I talk about it. So, here we go. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. The cryptozoological agency Monarch faces off against a battery of god-sized monsters, including the mighty Godzilla, who collides with Mothra, Rodan, and his ultimate nemesis, the three-headed King Ghidorah. Godzilla, King of the Monsters stars Kyle Chandler, who plays Mark Russell, Vera Farmiga, who plays Dr. Emma Russell, Millie Bobby Brown, who plays Madison Russell. Also includes Ken Wannabe as Dr. Hishiro, who was in the previous film. And this is the third entry in the MonsterVerse. As you guys know, it's Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, and now we have Godzilla, King of the Monsters, with the next film being Godzilla vs. King Kong. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a brief moment. I also want you to know that this review is completely spoiler free. Well, it might have just a little bit of minor spoiler with the plot, but trust me, it doesn't affect anything. In fact, you'll probably thank me. So, first, let's talk a bit about what's good about the film. If you're going to see this film strictly for Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, you are in for a treat. These guys get plenty of screen time, so they really took what the major complaint was with Godzilla of holding him back, not really seeing him, and they really just go balls to the walls with the monsters in this. And Ghidorah, believe it or not, excuse me, I should say the King Ghidorah, he gets the most screen time, even more than Godzilla. And I will go a little bit more into it. There's a little bit more cameos from other monsters that are in the Godzilla world, in the mythos, but unfortunately they do not get explored. It's mostly used for Easter eggs, so that was a little bit disappointing, especially after the trailer hyped up that there's 17 in all, and we don't really get to see the full 17, minus just one cameo appearance of them being released onto the world. The story is very weak. And I think this is going to be the most disappointing part. So if you're going, let me just say this real quick. If you're going into this film just expecting to see the monsters fighting, and that's what you really want to enjoy, except for the film as a whole, then you're going to be fine. You're going to get enough battles. You're going to get enough cameos. You're going to get enough of the Godzilla mythos to keep you happy when it comes to these battles. But from a story standpoint, this movie fails completely, and it's not the monster's fault. And once again, it's the same thing that I've seen in the Transformers movie when we're focusing too heavy on the human characters instead of the beast characters. I've seen a lot of reviews so far, and a lot of complaints from the critics are that, oh, there's not much of a good human story, when the story truthfully should be centered around the monsters and how the world is really affecting, how it affects the humans and everything else. And you get a little bit of that. But instead, what we're getting here, and this is what I'm going to say is a minor spoiler, is that we're getting a family, unnecessarily B story, as with Godzilla and King Ghidorah going, clashing and colliding and being the A story. The B story we have here is the Russell family, Madison, Emma, and the father, I automatically just forgot his name, played by Kyle Chandler, and their relationships, and how it's how that whole dynamic, and it takes you out of the film. And the reason why it takes you out, number one, the reasons for some of the motives of the human characters are just absolutely ridiculous. You're gonna watch this movie and just go, really? This is the reason why you're doing this action? This is the reason. This is the reason. Something that you could have just went completely to therapy for, by the way. This is your reason for doing something like this. Like, it takes you out of the movie. And I felt that they focused too heavy on Madison and Emma's relationship with Madison's father and the father. It's the paint by numbers. When the monsters and everything starts happening, I gotta save my family. I gotta save my family because I made a mistake back in my past, and now I gotta try to make things right by saving them. It's the paint by numbers of what you expect, and it takes you out of it because it's so heavy on this. You could get a cool battle scene, and then boom, we gotta focus on Madison and her drama with her mom and her dad and her being a teenager. And it just takes away from everything. And not only that, the human characters are very, very bland. You have O'Shea Jackson Jr., for those some who know him from Straight Outta Compton, who played his father Ice Cube in the film. I can't even remember his name, his military name. He plays one of the a military army guy, and I can't even remember his name. He's a great talent, but he is wasted in this film because it's just a paint by numbers. I'm a military guy, and the same goes for all the military characters. They are paint by numbers military, and that is just hammered over the head. And that's one problem I have with these type of disaster monster movies, is that yes, I understand that the government is going to get involved to try to escalate the situation and try to save the day, but can we please, and this is one thing I did like about the first one. We saw more, I like the first one better, by the way. We saw more of how Godzilla and the monsters were affecting the civilians of that world. That is totally gone in this one. This one is just like the military's response and let the military take care of it, and it gets so boring. It's so boring. I almost walked out of this movie. If it wasn't for the action, I would have left, because the characters are so bland. I cannot connect to one. And even when the heartbeat sad moments where they're trying to beat your heart and make you, like the heartstrings really make you feel for the characters, that it's so underdeveloped that you don't care who lives, you don't care who dies, you just want to see Ghidorah fuck shit up. and that is one thing they did do good. They did Ghidorah really good. They even explained a little bit of his origins with him coming from Venus and everything else like that. So they did good on the monster front. The problem with the script is you don't make the story centered around that. Instead, you have an A story and a B story. It's kind of structured like a TV show. It's like, okay, we had the A story here, we had the B story here. Instead of making things into one, and just really focusing too heavily on Madison and her mother's ideology of the world and how everything's supposed to be balanced, and and a little bit of social commentary on overpopulation, which I thought was thrown completely left field, and it just didn't work for me from a story standpoint. Now to talk about the visuals. The visuals is beautiful. The movie I thought was shot very well. I think we can end a little bit more of, like, I think one problem I had with the first one is that in certain aspects it gets too dark. And I'm not talking about tone, I'm talking about actual lighting when it comes to the battles. I would like to see a little bit more day battles when it comes to Godzilla. The dark battles is nice and all, but at some points it gets hard to follow because Godzilla is not a bright color character. And I think a little bit more of a color palette of daytime battles will really, really help this film, especially when you get a little tease at the end of the film where you see Godzilla in the daytime. You're like, holy crap, this could really do it, just like the first movie. The visuals is great. I thought the cinematography was great as well. Just a little comment, since I was like getting on the actors, at least the story. The actors do fine. The actors are really great. Bobby Brown does really good, as she always does. Vera does excellent. O'Shea did great. Everybody who played their part well. I just felt like the script failed them with this weak story of this family drama that I thought will take everybody out of it. And I thought it was just completely useless. The score, I love the score in this one. I mean, this is an epic Godzilla score. I love epic battle themes, and this one has a great original battle theme for Godzilla, with a little bit of nod to the a score of in the past, where you get the choir in there as he's fighting Ghidorah. There's a little bit of great percussion drums that I really did fall in love with. So really good credit to the composer there. Overall, you guys, I thought Godzilla was average at best. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5 stars. Go for the action. The pacing could have done a little bit better. Character moments are, to me, non-existent besides the monsters. I think that this is something that you can go to a matinee, and if you don't want to even do the matinee, I'll say wait for the Blu-ray or $5 Tuesday for this. But this is not something I will pay full price for, because the human story just brings when it brings the film down, it brings it down. And I think they should really start focusing on the human story to surround it around Godzilla. Let Godzilla actually be the character. And I know these guys don't talk, but it's possible to film things and make a movie with this, with them being the focal point of everything. And I was kind of very disappointed with this one. So this is Justin from otakusandgeeks.com saying later days. I'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget, if you like what we see, if you like what you see, and you like what we do here, visit otakusandgeeks.com and check out more of our articles. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and spread the word. Later days, guys. Peace.